Hello there. What's going on, everybody? Wave 2 is out for X-Wing 2.0, and I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of this wave, and just in general how I feel about this wave, because I've done my unboxing videos already, and some of you guys have pointed out certain things that you were expecting to see, as well as I'm going to talk about some of the things that I was expecting to see, and some of the things that I'm pleased with, some of the things that I'm not so pleased with as a whole for the wave, after like basically its production and manufacturing and shipment and opening it up and being like, oh, I was expecting this to be here and this to be there, and I was expecting this to, you know, work differently, etc. So I'm going to talk about all those things. I do want to remind you guys there is still time left. You've got less than a week left to enter to win this Super Star Destroyer giveaway in the form of a Cool Stuff gift card. All it takes to enter that giveaway is to become a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. So I'm going to talk about the Mining Guild tie first, because I think that's the one that has had the least amount of criticism. Overall, it was just a good expansion. My only criticism is more meta, and it's that, like, who doesn't have a TIE fighter now? You know, I think the Resistance is the only faction that doesn't have a TIE fighter. Obviously the Empire, obviously the First Order, the Rebels have Sabine's TIE, and now the Scum hat. So four of 5 factions, and it will be 7 eventually, but dude, everybody's got a TIE fighter. And you know the CIS are going to have a Tri-Fighter, which, you know, it's not the same thing, but it's, you know, it's just everybody's going to have a TIE fighter. So I just think that's funny. It's like Oprah Winfrey. So everybody's going to have one now. Other than that, though, it's done very well. I actually was very pleased with this one. I thought the model was done well. Granted, it's a model they've had forever, but the paint was fairly good on it, and you know, it was nothing like super crazy about this particular expansion. Although it was the one expansion out of the wave that really didn't fit into the First Order or Resistance. So there's that. Now, the conversion kits. Overall, they got some things very much right in the conversion kits, and some things very much wrong in the conversion kits. I'm going to talk about what was right. First thing I'm going to point out is that they had shields this time. So that was actually very good. I was happy to see that there were shields this time. Not that shields are a huge deal, but they weren't in the in the first round of conversion kits. And while I understand that you are still required to get a core set, and so this isn't meant to be like, this is all I'm getting. You know, if somebody did wait, you know, and only wanted to play the First Order or the Resistance, and then they got a core set and then just a conversion kit, they might not have had enough shields to outfit their entire fleet, or they straight up wouldn't have, depending on what they were flying. So considering that every First Order ship has shields, it's a good idea that they had. And the same thing with the Resistance. I mean, there was shields in both of these, which I thought was a good thing. The other thing that was good is there was actually more, because there's very few ships in the First Order and the Resistance with comparison to the other factions that are in game right now. And so I think because of that, they give you a lot more value here. A lot more. And this isn't a surprise to a lot of you that, you know, read the contents and knew what was going to be included. But they give you enough stuff to field 7 TIE FOs, you know, 3 Upsilons. You know, they give you a lot of dials and cardboard, so you don't have to buy 2 First Order conversion kits, and that's cool. That's actually something that would have been nice to have done with the Empire's version. Except I understand that there's, you know, 14 waves worth of Empire and Scum and Rebellion stuff, whereas, you know, there was significantly less of that when it comes to First Order and Resistance. So yes, you know, now the First Order also is the better value of the two, because there's 4 ships worth of stuff in the First Order conversion kit, so you're getting more contents, more ships, more overall stuff, whereas in the Resistance one, it was a little bit less, and we'll talk about that. But so that's one thing that was nice. But basically my 2 improvements that I saw is, A, they were more complete as far as a true conversion kit, because I have actually enough stuff to convert every single one of my TIE FOs into the First Order now, which is great. I had, I think, 6 plus the 1 expansion, so now I can field 7. Done. I won't have anything left over, which is cool. I actually got it too much, because I don't have that many TIE silencers. I don't have that many Upsilons. I don't have that many TIE SFs. I think it was enough for like 5 TIE SFs, or 4 or 5. I think it was 5. So, you know, you got a lot of stuff, no doubt. So that's good. I'm glad the shields were there. Now on to the negative, as far as conversion kits in general. There were no target locks. That's surprising to me. Again, I'm going back to why, you know, why they're doing this to somebody who's just getting into the game, you know, who maybe once 2.0 came out said, you know what, all right, I'm not jumping into X-Wing 2.0 altogether. I'm going to wait for my faction to come out before I dive into this game. So is this maybe, you know, anybody out there who was waiting for First Order and Resistance only has a core set is not going to have enough target locks to run a TIE FO swarm. You know, if they had 7, you know, TIE FOs, TIE FO can target lock, guys. And now they don't have the stuff to do that. Now, granted, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like we can't come up with something. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like we can't just use our 1.0 stuff. But that's not right. And we shouldn't have to. And FFG is better than that. I know they're better than that because they give you everything, you know, they've inundated us with cardboard in the past. They have always done a better job than this. It's just in X-Wing 2.0, it seems like there's so many things where they're just missing the mark and not really being thorough on the stuff that should be included in these expansions. And that kind of bothers me. And I know that they're better than that. And it's going, what annoys me is that this hobby, like tabletop gaming in general, but specifically like skirmish-based war games, are growing. And it's really going to annoy a new player who's trying to get into our hobby when they realize they bought into this game and they don't have enough stuff to play it. Now, I think the damage for that is very minimal because I would guess that most of your people, most of your target audience who are buying these conversion kits probably already have some target locks, probably already have the target locks from 1.0. I actually got rid of all my 1.0 stuff. I threw it all away. It's actually in the trash. So, you know, I couldn't go back and use that. But considering I buy at least one of everything, I have the target locks to spare. So that's not really an issue with me. But, you know, there's going to be people out there who are like, well, I wanted to run a TIE FO swarm, you know, and I don't have enough target locks now. So that's, you know, it's a bummer. And I think they should have done better. Additionally, you know, while there is enough for a lot of ships, they didn't give you enough upgrades for all of those ships. And that's kind of annoying. Some things they give you several upgrades on, but most upgrades in these conversion kits, there's only 2 of. And that's a real pain when it comes to certain really good upgrades, like advanced optics. Advanced optics, for example, is like one of my favorite upgrades in the game right now, especially for the First Order. I mean, if you put this on a TIE FO, now it's going to have a really good chance of maximizing its weaker attack. You know, and here's something you might want 7 of these. You know, and so it's a kind of a shame they didn't give you enough to outfit all of your TIEs, or at least close to it. You know, but no, only 2 for most of this stuff. Most of the things that are in here, you're only getting 2 of. And that's kind of a disappointment as well. You know, but it is what it is. Now, the Resistance conversion kit, I'll talk about some specifics here. I feel like this one is much less of a value. Much less, for a couple of reasons. For one, you're getting 1 less ship. So you're only getting the T-70 contents, the scavenged YT, and then the bomber. Because the 4th ship to equalize things is the A-Wing, and there's nothing in here for the A-Wing. The A-Wing is a separate expansion. So, you know, I feel like the First Order just gives you more for that. Granted, that's not a major criticism now, because we've known that all along. That's not new information. But I am pointing it out for the purposes of being thorough. But this one specifically has a different set of, I guess, criticisms for me. In that, cards like Black Squadron Ace. Okay, here's a generic with a talent, and so this is a really nice pilot. He's Initiative 4, which is not bad. If you're looking to pilot a mid-level swarm and you want to run a bunch of T-70s, but you want to give them talents also, here's a really nice candidate. They only give you 1 of this in the conversion kit. Only 1. I don't see a dot in front of Black Squadron Ace's name. You know, he's not unique. So why did they only give you one of a generic? That doesn't make sense to me, and that's kind of messed up. They give you enough generics of everything else. Again, that was one of the high points, is they gave you enough pilots, to upgrade your entire conversion kit. But in the Resistance's case, this particular pilot card was in that extra little packet of things that were kind of an afterthought, like, oh, and here's the upgrades that are going to come in some other expansions. Well, that's great, but it's a generic. I mean, it would be one thing if it was a named pilot. One is fine for a named pilot. But this was kind of a bummer for me. And also, you have Ray, but there were no force upgrades in the Resistance conversion kit. And Predictive Shot, which came in the First Order conversion kit, is not dark side only. Granted, I understand it has a picture of Kylo Ren on there, but that doesn't make it a dark side upgrade unless it was a misprint. And there's nothing about this that implies that it should be a misprint. It seems like a neutral force power. It seems like that was at least the intent. It seems like it's other than the picture. Of course, it's going to be a neutral force power. So why? Why didn't they give this? Why can't Rey use this? Right? I mean, she can, but you'd have to buy that other conversion kit. Right? You have to buy across the aisle. I don't like that. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's right. So that's a bummer. That's a bummer that you have this, and that you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to just stick with one faction. Again, for the most part, they're doing a fairly good job of making it to where you don't have to buy across the aisle. But things like this are going to make it to where you have to buy across the aisle. Things like this are going to mean that you have a Predictive Shot going up on eBay for $20 for one card or something like that. And that's a kind of a problem. So kind of bummed about that. I think they should have thought that through a little bit more. Now, the TIE FO. Let's talk about the TIE FO. And again, I'm going to do the pros and the cons here. The model's good. It's also not new. It's shinier black. It actually looks a little better. I actually prefer this one over the old, but not by much. It's like, it's not an order of magnitude better. It's just a tiny little bit better. I like the paint job a little bit more. It's a little bit shinier. It looks a little bit more new, whereas the old one is a little bit more matte finish. Not a big deal. Que sera, sera. Whatever you like, you like. But at least there's a difference. At least it's not 100% the same. So I'll give them points for that. Not many points. But the other thing I'm going to give them points for is that the TIE FO does come with advanced optics. I talked about this card right here. So if you want to get another copy of advanced optics, you can get that in a TIE FO expansion. So that much is nice. So it's a shame that they're kind of forcing you to buy a whole bunch more ties when all of us have way more than enough ties already. But if you are going to buy more ties, at least you're going to get something good out of it. So you'll get more advanced optics out of that. The T-70. T-70 was good. It is actually a new model. It has folding wings. It's so that much is good. It does have your ace has Black Squadron Ace in there. So at least if you've got the T-70 expansion, you can get another copy of Black Squadron Ace. Again, I think it's lousy that you have to do that, but at least you're getting that. Some people complained in my videos that the wings didn't close all the way. I understand that. I understand the wings don't close all the way. I was comparing these to the Wave 14 of X-Wing 1.0, the Saws Renegades, where the wings just went like and they didn't open fully or close fully, and that was a lot of, so in this case, huge improvement. But I understand you want them to actually close fully at the tips. But because the way that these wings kind of interlock, kind of like that, it's not like when in X-Wing 1.0 the wings go like this. In the T-70 X-Wing, the wings kind of go like this a little bit, and I think the engineering for that may have been just a bridge too far. So this one's kind of like a pro and a con. I think they did the internal closing mechanism. I think they did that better because there was no glue mistake. You didn't have the problem you had in X-Wing Wave 14. But at the same time, they don't kind of do the full interlocking. But it's okay for me because I think it's close enough. At least for me, that's my own personal opinion. I understand some of you it may not be close enough for. But the most important thing here is that it's clear if it's closed or open. And because there is actually a gameplay mechanic that involves it being closed or open with your S-foils, I think the fact that it's easy to tell if it's open or closed is an important thing, especially after playing with the Sauce Partisans X-Wings, whereas they just kind of kept gravitating back to like a middle state. You pinch them closed, and then they kind of open again, and then you open them up, and then they kind of close again. That was annoying, and and I still need to go back and try to fix those because I don't like the way that they were made. So this one is much better than those, and that's when I was doing this unboxing. And again, I'll put links to some of the unboxing videos. You can check them all out again. But yeah, I was looking at it from that perspective. I'm like, yes, these actually work well. I understand the tips don't totally close all the way, but they're very close, and it's definitely a huge improvement over the previous T70 as well. The A-Wing. A-Wing is a pretty big winner here. It was a whole new ship, whole new expansion. That's cool. You're getting all new pilots. You're getting a whole new ship with new mechanics that can shoot backwards. A-Wing, really cool. Here's the problem. Ferrosphere paint. Again, this is the only place you can get Ferrosphere paint. Kind of a bummer, because this is one I think that people were wanting lots of, and not getting this in the conversion kit. So it would have been nice to get this in other places, maybe also in the T70 expansion. I thought it would have been smart for them too, because people are going to want to buy A-Wings anyway because it's a whole new ship. But give people a little more reason to buy the T70, and I think they're kind of, and that's the thing is like some of these expansions people don't really want to buy. Like if you're a 1.0 player and we're just looking to convert all your stuff, now they give you a heavy incentive to buy more T70s for that that Initiative 4 generic, and then also with advanced optics in the TIE-FO. That's kind of a bummer. It's it's almost kind of low down, but it is what it is. So that was just my kind of rundown on the pros and cons of Wave 2 as a whole. I hope you guys found this video informative. If you haven't made your purchases yet, maybe this will sway you one way or another, give you some incentive as to what's good, what's bad. Maybe you were going to skip out on the T70 altogether. Maybe I changed your mind for the better or for the worse. I'm not trying to be overly negative or overly positive. I'm just trying to give you my basic opinion on it. Overall, though, I think these factions are pretty cool, simply for the fact that there's not too much to them. I think the fact that 14 waves worth of stuff in X-Wing 1.0 in those first conversion kits can be a little overwhelming, especially if you're a newer player. I think Wave 2 might actually be a good entry point into the game because of the fact that you only have a few options. You don't really have to think too much when it comes to squad building or what synergies you're going to have. If you just want to run a couple of T70 X-Wings, that's going to work. It's going to be fine. You don't have to think about it too much. And for an old guy like me, who plays a lot of games, I actually can probably run these factions and not be overly blown away by all the complexities and combos and synergies that are out there with the other factions, minus the Mining Guild tie, because Scum is a lot of people's favorite, but it also is probably the most conflated because they've got a little bit of everything. Scum touches everything, so if you want to really run synergies, maybe Scum is your faction, but if you want to keep it a little more simple, this might be a great faction, or either one of these might be great factions for you. That's my take on Wave 2. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Hope you guys are getting your holiday shopping done. This makes great holiday gifts for any of the gamers in your life. So pick up some X-Wing 2.0 if you want to. If not, oh well. Have a great holiday. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.